Yo, Dane, man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to sit alongside you, man, and just chop it up. Again, thank you for welcoming me to your house, welcoming me to your studio. Thank you for being the man of your word who promised that anything that we needed as OSG, that you was going to be here for us. You've been a stand-up guy about that, and anything and everything we needed. You've exceeded all that we could even ask of you. So we appreciate you for that. But then I wouldn't feel right coming to LA and not taking the opportunity to interview you, because you've been a big part of the success of OSG alongside, the likes of Blaze Elliott from the world famous MOP. I want to give a shout out to Laze because I know he was instrumental in the formation of this collaboration and this brotherhood. So let's start there, Dane. You know what I mean? You and Laze known each other for quite some time, right?
Yeah, I know Laze since MOP, but we were all in the same circle. Coming up like 20, 30 years ago. I remember I was the original Flavor and they had hardcore, they were killing the clubs. It was a different day for hip hop. And he's definitely in the DNA of that. And then I was able to help get him off of Sony and sign MOP at Rockefeller, toward the end. But also Laze used to come through the Fight Club. That was where we used to box. So
Who's part of the Fight Club? Who's part of the Fight Club, Dave?
Me, Jay-Z, Q-Tip, Heavy D, Preem, where he comes sometimes. Russ, or rather Gus.
Don't get Gus, yeah.
Gus. A man played golf, what's his name? The pro. He's gonna be mad. You know the dude though. I caught him with the jab and I didn't do that. It's a Ghost Reese who trained us. And we would box. We had a lot of fun there. But of course he's like part of that cloth, cut from that cloth, brotherhood. So when you're a part of a certain brotherhood and someone asks you to do something, because you trust them, you blindly will do it. So I really wasn't listening to what he was saying because he sent the text. And he was just like, and I was like, really today? All right, me, I'm like, all right.
I know that.
So I just jumped on and I'm like, these are all principles. And, I automatically started to get into my spew about what I don't like about education. And, and then I started to listen and I was like, well, it ain't their fault. They're trying to help. And being on a Zoom with 90 intelligent people that understood what I was saying, that were actually I talk to people, it's like, they don't even know what the f*** I'm talking about, bro. And just to be around smart people and seeing that I had never seen black principals, and then there were swaggy principals that really all cared about, they would only put children that aren't theirs before themselves. And then I started to see how oppressed they were, the sacrifice it is to love others in a system that doesn't really love you.
But again, I think, Dane, that kind of goes with, I think, for the several months now that I've gotten to know you and to get a better understanding of Dame Dash, the man. I think what I kind of connect there is just like these principles love unconditionally for those that we're supposed to support, that we're supposed to protect, which are the young people. I also felt that you were doing something similar with Rockefeller. I felt that, when I think back to those days and I saw what you guys created, now that I see Dame Dash the man, I know a lot of that had to do with your willingness to be selfless in certain instances. So I think you kind of understand what they're going through, and I think maybe that may be the connection. Do you agree with that?
Well, I know when I have a crew, I want my crew fly. I want my crew protected. I never want my crew to feel scared. And I just want the same for them that I wanted for Rockefeller. And at the time, the crew that I was trying to save was like, yo, we gotta save y'all from the street. And I was devastated. And I was able to save myself. And then once I saved myself, I saved those that kept me safe on the street. You know? So it's the same kind of thing. But it's crazy because, you know, the people that I tried to save really only cared about saving themselves. You know, their whole agenda was to become, you know, powerful so that they can be powerful, but not to help nobody. Powerful to me is when you help people. You know, some people that I put on, I'm proud of, very proud of, but some that I did, I'm not so proud of. You know, and that's what happens, it's trial and error. Can't win them all. But at the end of the day, this crew deserves to be famous. This crew deserves to be wealthy. This crew deserves to be safe. Because I know that when they get that platform, they're not going to just do what they got to do to stay there, to fit in. They're going to use and leverage their celebrity to say something smart and help others.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, I think, Dame, you know, we get the question a lot. You know, who's OSG? Who's OSG? And OSG stands for Off School Grounds, and it's a coalition of principals and school leaders from across the country that have banded together to kind of deal with some of the inequities and inequalities that face our kids in the community. So when you see OSG, the symbol of excellence, it's really about making sure that, you know, the world knows that we've taken notice that what's out there for our kids, we know we can control that narrative as principals. We know we can control that narrative as school leaders. We know we can control that narrative as educators in particular. So that's who we are as OSG. And I think then when we had the initial discussion and you talked about wanting to add the extra swag to what we did, I want to first give you props, Dane, for the design of the logo.
Okay, my man. All right.
I want to give you props for the design of the logo.
As an artist.
Absolutely. So Dane, let's talk a little bit about what inspired you to help put together, well, for you to design this logo, keeping in mind who you were designing it for.
Well, again, the way you're noticing the similarities of Rockefeller, the first thing I did with Rockefeller, and I'll show you the tapes, is we all had to have fly gear, Rockefeller gear. And we all had to move like a gang, you know, but an aspirational crew that people want to be a part of. Like, you know, a lot of people look good, you want to be a part of that, you want to look good too. And all these principals have individual swag, like each one of them design their own logos for their school. They basically have their own clothing lines. It's just they don't know it. The narrative ain't there. So it was important to make sure that what came along with this intelligence was super fresh. Like, you know, the new aspirational should be intelligence and caring. That should be the new red on a Louboutin. So you know if somebody's wearing that, number one, they fly. There's some shit you want to wear regardless. You can't wear this unless you're about love, unless you're fighting for something other than yourself, unless you're intelligent. And that's what this has to stand for. The new fly is intelligence and caring. That's the new gossip. That's the new fresh. You know, we ain't talking about this type of, don't talk about nothing, because this exists. I'm presenting to you. It looks cool, it is cool, and everybody that's a part of it is cool. You like can't even just be a regular principal and get down here. You ask you, they not fucking with you.
Absolutely, David. And you know, again, the logo's dope, man. The line of apparel that we're wearing now, man, is super dope, man. I really appreciate you for that. But I know that there was something else that inspired you when you got into the room with them. When you got into the room with them, you said, yo, you guys are special. I want to help make each and every one of you rich.
Well, something that is important to me is logic. And my thing is like, number one, you deserve to be rich. Or number two, you can't teach nobody how to be rich unless you're rich. So it became also for me learning a lot from them, me teaching them a lot about entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And what they have the ability to do. So as a result, before COVID's over, books have been written, TV shows have been shot, character. So much has been done.
But then let me jump in, because what you said was important, because you wanted to teach principles about entrepreneurship. And it is no way they can teach their students about it unless they're entrepreneurs,
Exactly.
right? It's not going to be authentic. And so I wanted to make sure that we didn't gloss over that, because I think it's important that principals are that are under the sound of our voices right now understand that you're more than just the title. You're more than just the leader of that building. You're a person that has creative ability to do amazing things. And that's where Dame is partnered with us and collaborating on us. And basically, I don't care what nobody says. You hear from me first. When you see OSG, you're going to always see Dame Dash. And I'm going to tell you that now. You can put that and you can save that. Because this man right here has basically stood up as one who says, you know what? I love what you guys are doing. I love these principles. And I'm going to fight for y'all and with y'all until the end. So I definitely want to give Dame props for that. But that entrepreneurship is really important. Everything that Dame just talked about, he's about creating that narrative. And he talks about that action, but it's about that narrative that he's trying to change, and I appreciate Dame for that. And so when people understand what OSG stands for, if you just get the concept in your mind that if we can get a band of 90 to 100 to 200 to 1,000 principles together, there's nothing that we can't change. None.
And that's a lot of intelligent people in the room. And, you know, like you got principals like, you know, Akbar, who have like went in their own pocket, changed things, and then maybe get reimbursed like doesn't wait. And as a result, crime is down, grades are up, you know, they got championship rings, and their gear looks like something I would want to wear, like an average jacket. Just wrote 3 books, 2 books.
Shout out to Principal Akbar,
And
Westside High, Newark, New Jersey.
And that's just an example, you know, of just the forward thinking. So it's inspired me to say, all right, because for me, I'm like, let's just build our own school. And, you know, that's like, we can do that, but we got all these other schools right now. Let's just go one by one and just improve them. And, you know, we're using Akbar's model, koi ponds, and studios, and clothing lines, and banks, and laundry mats, and fashion houses. You know, basically make a good environment that's productive, profitable, that you can monetize. Where, when you go to school, or at least when you're a certain age, unless you're showing me how to get money, unless you're fresh, I'm not listening to you.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, Dave. So a couple of days ago, I brought on one of my older students that I met him when he was 5 years old. He's now 21 years old.
Yeah,
you met
young
Jason.
Dame Dash, right?
Yeah, the young Dame Dash, Jason Williams. And what Jason said was, what changed his mind about the path that he wanted to take was when me as his principal would come to school one day in an Escalade, and a couple of days later I'm in a Benz. Now, it wasn't about flossing. It was basically about letting kids know that you can do this work, you can love people, but you can also still live the life you want to live.
You know, something is important.
Absolutely, something's important.
Because if somebody's jealous of you,
now, Dave, say that to the principals again, because I don't think principals in particular, the principals in this country don't necessarily believe that stunting is very important for the young people.
That's what marketing is. What does Ralph Lauren do? He stunts, so you want aspiration. That's part of the game, is marketing your lifestyle, so people want to be a part of it. So you want to inspire people and let them know if I can get it, you can get it. That's why I stunt. That's why when somebody comes in stunt, you notice I'm happy. I be, oh, okay, that was fly. If your shit ain't right, I be like, that ain't right. But this shit right, and I'm not mad at you, I'm actually happy, do more of it. So when I see Akbar, that's what I like about the principals too, because they be like, stunt. And I think that the kids need to see that confidence. You know, I was talking on the Zoom with y'all yesterday, and Akbar was saying how, like, yo, pause. Sometimes, you know, we open up shop and these young kids be talking about suck my dick and all that. And I be like, you know, and I'll give you a fair one. And then they stop saying it. And then the other principals, the women, I went through the same thing. And I got real hood quick. And they need to know that y'all not robots, that y'all human, and that y'all will get down just like they will, so they won't try you. But also that y'all get money. That lifestyle shouldn't be aggressive, it should be relaxing. And what you got to do to get to that point to relax. It takes a lot of work to relax. It's better to do it when you're young.
Yeah,
You know?
and so then, just to reiterate, for those who may not know, again, I've been in education for over 25 years, and, I basically started as a school aide and then a teacher, assistant principal, a principal in Harlem for almost 10 years at one of the most recognizable, institutions there are across this globe, the Harlem Children's Home. And I want people to kind of understand something. I ran the gamut. You know what I'm saying? I was a principal when I was 31 years old. I was nowhere near retirement. There's no way I was going to be a principal for 30 years. So I had to understand that I had to create a narrative for myself by recreating myself. And so opening up my own consulting company where I'm helping principals all across the globe in school improvement and things like that, and then starting OSG and stuff like that. Those things are important, but I wanted people to understand is I had started a company while I was still a principal. I sat on the company while I was a principal, so when it was time for me to move on, it was an easy transition. And I think some of our principals right now may feel a bit stuck in a situation right now where they're going back into these buildings, and we kind of know what the results are currently happening around the country.
That bothered me. It still bothers me. Because I've gotten to know all these principals, and if we lose one of them at all, it's going to devastate us. And I'm seeing people that have been trained to educate have to turn into like soldiers and armor up and risk their lives, risk their families' lives. Some of their, they might not have a secondary, but someone in the house do. And they're going out there because they told you for a check. And my advice was don't go.
And David, I'm glad you said that, because I think oftentimes when we talk about what's happening in education, we don't spend enough time thinking about what the principals themselves have to go through and what they have to endure, not only for the kids and the families and the staff that they're responsible for, but for their own families they got to go back home to. You got what I'm saying? So them going back into the building, I think has been somewhat of a
they putting on helmets and armor. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, but you know what? But that shows you the kind of love and the selflessness that these principals across the country have. They step up day in and day out to take it on the chin for everything and everybody. All I'm saying is, I'm not asking anybody to have sympathy for principals, because we do what we're supposed to do for kids. But what I am saying is that when you lay down at night and you say that prayer for the school, and you say the prayer for the teacher, don't forget the principal. Don't forget that principal's out there every single day losing sleep, thinking about how am I going to keep all of my students and all my staff safe. So Dane, you have daughters who's in school as well. I think Tulua's in, what grade is Tulua in?
Tulua's in 6th grade.
She's in 7th grade. And when you think about either sending her back to school, okay. But let me ask you this though, Dave. Specifically, how often do you think about her principal when you think about what's getting ready to happen in these schools? How often do you really get this? Because I know obviously now you're around principals that you love. How often do you think about your daughter's principal when it comes to?
To be honest, for that money, I'm not thinking about them. I spend too much money. So to me, they make about see, the schools, these principals are public schools. Tallulah goes to a private school, and I'm paying more than college price. So it's more tight that I'm still paying full price for her to be educated at home. So I'm tight. I can't get past it. And I really doubt that principal's putting themselves in harm's way. I can't see him. I don't know what he's doing. So I'm not thinking about that principal. They're not thinking about me. If I ain't got the money, then they're not letting her go to school. I ain't thinking about it.
So Dave, obviously,
I do love the school.
Oh, no doubt. You know what I mean? Shout out to all of the educators out there, Tulua's principal as well. So Dave, you've been rocking with OSG now for almost 6 months. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of amazing things happen. If you could talk to the people out there to let them know something that you've learned about principals just by messing around, jumping on answering the call, that ladies, answering the text. what have you learned about principles now that you had no idea about prior to jumping on OSG and our weekly Zoom?
Well, I look at principles like this, like lawyers. There's good lawyers and there's bad lawyers. You know, I hate a bad lawyer. So I'm sure if a principal ain't shit, he's oppressing kids and doing all type. But these principals, the ones, the good ones, they care about the kids more than they care about themselves, but above and beyond everything, they're superiorly intelligent. And that they could have run any company they wanted to. The amount of time that they put into running those schools, I'm telling you, I'm at a corporate level, I'm at the biggest level, they're running circles around billion-dollar companies. I promise you. Like, that's why I said that anytime, any one of the principals, y'all want to come over here, come on. I got a company for you to run. And I'm sure that it'll be better than it is when I run it because I'm not as focused.
But Dave, I know you get approached by a lot of people about partnerships and collabs and things like that. Again, you decided that OSG is what you wanted to be connected to. Is there a particular reason why you say you chose OSG over probably so many other companies and so many organizations that come into your life every single day that want to pull on Dame Dash and Dame Dash's name and stuff? Why do you choose OSG?
To be in business with 90 principals, with the principals, it's like, I'm in business, so it's not even like a question. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, yo, Elon Musk, I'd be like, yeah. You want to get in business with 90 principals that really care? Of course. You know the validation that comes with 90 principals? The fact that whenever I have a problem, the consulting I get from the principals, you know, the think tanks I get, you know, the stuff that the women's OSG is doing with Raquel and all the women in OSG. I'm not going to say one, but I'll say them all.
Because if you miss one, it's a problem.
Definitely. Because I ain't going to lie, the women in OSG, they should just be called the accountability crew. They pressure you, they want the pressure. You don't even get on there if your Wi-Fi is wrong. They get mad. But, you know, even developing the curriculums for the children. I have a child coming, so developing the curriculum that we've already started from with him in the womb. You know, it just makes me, I thought I was ill before. It's like 10 times 90. You feel me? So I evolve. Anything that makes me evolve better, that helps other people that appreciate your time, with action. You know, I have people, the comparison is not even a question. I'd be dumb. I wouldn't be Dame Dash if I let that one go by.
You know, you said something powerful a couple of months ago, Dave, about how therapeutic being on OSG, being on Zooms with us, how therapeutic it is. You know, shout out to Taj, the real therapist out here. But I know you talked about how important it is to get on these Zooms and how therapeutic it is for you. When you think back now to where it started and where it is now, just 6 months later, could you say to yourself you saw what is now developed into and what it's developing into every single day that you speak to me or Blaze or to us?
Yeah.
Because did it remind you of anything in particular that you used to do?
It's just that I just know I'm logical. So I'm like, yo, I got 90 principles and they all focus and we do this consistently, it's going to be a wrap, period. I was saying it from day one. So yeah, I knew it was going to get all this and remember everything I said, it's going to look like this. That's what it looked like. So yeah, I already know what it is. You know, it's just our crew is invincible. And it's a lot of families. Like I said, you know, you got Senator Eddie Milton, you got Congressman Andre Carson, you got Bishop, you know, with the Yacht Squad.
Don't forget Dr. Chris.
You got Dr. Chris on CNN, days, I already knew what it was. Our team is invincible. Taj on the therapy, you know, one call, we unite. And it's an intelligent fight, and no one could beat us in that. No one. And love with intelligence and muscle is over.
So you know, just real quick about just what was some of your proudest moments of assembling OSG, Yacht Squad, Taj, Senator Eddie Milton? What was one of your prouder moments in our relationship that you felt like, yo, not only is the OSG crew dope, not only is Yacht Squad dope, Eddie Milton is dope. Congressman Carson, Taj, everybody. What happened?
Well, I think the first time testing the steering wheel, the spaceship, where the senator called me about one of the lawmakers that control education being racist, putting up a racist tweet, and we had a town hall, and we got at him, and he got removed the next day. You know, getting laws passed, you know, just making people accountable every single time, you know, doing the town halls with the police. You know, just what we did with the girl, and also we can't forget Dr. Is she a doctor?
Who's that?
Therapist. What's her name? You know, that she did the thing with the girl that got hit with the buckshot. Huh? Yeah, Melody. When we did the thing with Melody.
Yeah, what was the young lady name? Rest in peace to what's the young lady from Long Island who lost her life to some senseless violence? It'll come to me. Remember, yeah, we got on the Zoom for that.
I think every time we get on the Zoom, even when Kanye told me he wanted to run for president, and we got to really talk it out and come with some statistical facts, and he let me challenge the people that were telling him that, certain things. So that those moments, every moment is proud because we always make history. Just showing up and knowing that people are calling when they need us and having confidence in the fact that we're going to change and we actually do. That makes me proud. Being about that action makes me proud.
Yeah.
But like for the right action,
Yeah. So then, for
when y'all putting on the OSG, when y'all wearing the logo, all that. So that makes me proud.
No doubt. So then, if you could tell a principal, who's under the sound of your voice, or somebody who knows a principal, or somebody who loves a principal, why they need to get connected with OSG and why they might need to sit in on our weekly Thursday Zoom meetings.
If you want to help, if you want to be about that action, if you want to learn, if you want to get fly, if you want some therapy, it's all there. Everything is handled on those Zooms. And now on the TV, and when this thing opens back up, when the world is back, I can't wait for everybody to get in the room and all the OSG events that we're going to do, the golf tournaments and the tennis classics all around the world. That's what I can't wait. I just see a big, this is what we did all this, but not with the world being inside. Imagine what we do when you come out.
No doubt.
So we want to prepare a better place for when it does come out, and that's what we're doing. The new world will have a different narrative, and we'll be in control of that, and I'm proud of that.
Well, Dave, I definitely appreciate this, opportunity to get with you, man. And, we got a lot more work to do. And, I appreciate you opening, your studio to me and to my principals and things like that. So we try to get out here once a month to record and to get some content.
Yeah, all that.
And I know there's some principals out here, out in LA, out in Compton, out in Watts, and other places like that. I think my man, Principal Rob, who's out here, and I believe he's out in Compton or Watts. I want to get you out here with me one day too, to sit on this, to sit on this stage. But again, for those principals who don't have that support network, don't have that connection, feel free to jump on our Zoom tomorrow. You can catch the flyer on the official OSG, or you can catch it on In Our Best Interest LLC. So I want you to go over to the official OSG and actually see the flyer, jump on with us tomorrow, and we look forward to being, partners and brothers and sisters and friends and family to y'all. So thank you, Dame. I appreciate you, man. Much love to you. Man, give a parting word to your OSG family, man, who's out here watching.
To all the principals, with principals, I'll see you on the Zoom. Be easy on me, pause. I'm working hard, but I'm proud of all of y'all, and the future looks bright. That's like 90 million there. That's 90 million right there. I see 100 million when I see OSG, maybe first year.
We got it, bro.
All right, bro.
Thank you, Dave.
My man. All right, OSG. Love y'all, OSG. OSG.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.